those who become are those who never settle. They know that there is always a better and greater version. I want to teach you something about prayer to add to your spiritual arsenals that will command victory after victory in your life. The Bible says, "O thou that hearest prayer." This immediately tells you not everybody can hear prayer. "O thou that hearest prayer," it says, "unto thee shall all flesh come." This statement is both an acknowledgement and a recommendation. The writer is recommending that among the many people who claim to be able to hear and answer prayer, through my research I have found out that there is only a single individual who sustains the ability to hear prayer, and my recommendation is all flesh. If you really need your prayer answered, there is one who hears prayer. It says, "Unto thee shall all flesh come." The subject of prayer is a very interesting one, because every religion, regardless what they believe in prayer as the medium of communicating with the divine. Almost every religion believes that there is a reality beyond the three-dimensional realm. They have all kinds of propositions that have been strengthened by their experiences, but altogether they believe that there is some force or some deity above and beyond the realm of science that can come into partnership with men here and now and produce dimensions of victory that is not given to ordinary men. So the subject of prayer is not new across religions, across all kinds of faith practices. But then the challenge many times has been that believers become frustrated because after dissipating hours and energy in what we know and call to be prayer, it looks to me and to many of us in our experience that the amount of energy, even physical and emotional energy, that is being exerted into this activity we call prayer doesn't seem commensurate to the results that follow. Are we in agreement? So week in, week out, we have the house of God across this city, across this nation, filled with professing believers who are praying in some way, many adding with fastings. But when you compare the level of energy, the level of zest and zeal and emotional strain that we go through in that activity we call prayer versus the result that comes from it, it doesn't seem to add up. And yet the Bible tells us that God is love. The Bible tells us God is Abba, that he is more willing. If he did not spare his son Jesus, he is more willing to give us all things. Are we together? Luke chapter 11. The disciples began to study the life and the ministry of Jesus. Now, until Jesus came, John the prophet, who we call the Baptist, had his disciples. Some of them later became the disciples of Jesus, theologically speaking, and they saw him pray, they saw him do a lot of things, and he worship sessions. And here's what he said. He said, when a spirit leaves a man, Jesus is teaching now, when a spirit leaves a man, that spirit goes through dry regions looking for a place of refuge. Why is that so? There's no time to explain it to you. You see, God, spirit beings have spirit bodies. There is something called the law of territory. You are only at ease in a territory when you are made up of the same material with that territory. Are we together now? That means if you are in heaven, you will never be at peace until you are made with the material of that atmosphere. Are we together now? These disembodied spirits you see, when they left their original estate, you know what that means? Because angels and these spirit beings can translate into different states, not just like men that were here always human. Now, to perform certain assignments, they would have to translate, downgrade themselves to certain levels. They did that in rebellion, and when they tried to return back to their original estate, they were hijacked. So till today, all these embodied spirits are in a state of restlessness, because they are not in heaven and they are roaming around the earth. And in the earth here, they are violating a law of territory because they do not have a material body for their spirits to find rest. Are you understanding it now? So constantly disembodied spirits are in a strait, loitering across the length and the breadth of the earth. And the way God created the human body is that there is a possibility of multiple spirits coexisting in the same body. It is not only one spirit that can coexist. One man had a legion. You remember in the Bible? That's to tell you how scarce accommodation is for these demons. That a legion can make do with one body to find rest. So don't play games with your body. That's to tell you, bodies are serious real estate issues in the realm of the spirit. Oh yes. When demons see bodies that are available, they don't play games with it. No. A body has now prepared for me. So when these spirits find expression in a body, they find some level of rest. They can occupy animals, like they entered the swine. Is that true? But the most comfortable body is the human body. Why? Because humans are the zenith of God's creation, and their level of complexity can allow the demons to find expression. The presence of will, emotion and intellect can allow them to find expression. They may not have that level of liberty with animals. So there is a constant search for bodies. But here's where I'm going. The Bible says when a demon leaves a human body, it gets back into that state of restlessness. Are we together? It goes around dry regions and not finding a place. Here's what the demons will say. Like the prodigal son, the demon will say, I will arise and go back to my house. The demon is still calling the place he left my house. That means in his mind there is still a possibility of returning. And then the Bible says when it comes, it will find that body swept, it will find that body clean, but it finds it empty. And the demon is kind enough to invite other demons higher than itself to build fortification to return to that individual, so that the latter part of that individual is worse than the beginning. Herein lies the mystery behind people who get free momentarily, and then it looks like their situation multiplied because they did not know what to do with the house of God.